Hi everybody, we're back with another one. Yes, I've done it again. I have a 1937 Maytag 92 that's being offered for sale. This engine came out of a farm in Fort Washington, Pennsylvania. It's obviously a previous restoration. Really good shape. Whoever did the restoration knew what they were about, and it's been a very good running motor. When I received the motor, the fuel pickup tube was blocked. I ended up pulling the carburetor off, clearing the fuel pickup tube with a little bit of heat. Had to resolder the mesh on the bottom of the tube back on. Put it all back together, got it to run on starting fluid, and within like 3 kicks it started picking up fuel again. This is a 1937 build. Overall, really good shape. Could use a little bit of cleaning up, but overall not too bad. As you can see, the motor does have very good compression. That's about all I can do to spin it one-handed, as a matter of fact. Let me rotate this around so I can get the serial number for you. I don't know if you can see that in the sun, but I'll read it. The serial number is 768394. That does make it a 1937 build. That was the last year of production for this motor, for the single cylinder 92s. So it doesn't get any newer than this, boys and girls. Motor also has a pulley. Starting to become hard to find, motors with pulleys. This looks completely original, so that's an added benefit to the engine. Couple items that are worth mentioning. As most of you are well aware, the screen meshes on the intake for the carburetor disappeared over the years. For those of you that aren't aware, there is a wire screen that goes in this hole. It's held in place with a snap ring. There's also one brake right here where I have my finger. I don't know if you can see it in the video or not, but there is a brake there. Other than that, very clean motor, no brakes, welds, anything along those lines. For those of you that aren't aware, you normally see cracks or breaks on the kick pedal arm. Pretty typical. People use their feet, really give it a good kick, and sometimes the motor's used to bind, compression lock, whatever, and folks would end up breaking the kick pedal. Not this one. Very clean, very good motor. I did have the cover plate off on the flywheel. For those of you that don't know, the magneto, the governor, and the coil are behind this plate. Whoever did the motor had the governor cranked down so it would basically just idle. I did loosen up the governor so it would make a little bit of power, so I could hook up our squirrel cage fan. Want to be very clear, the fan is not for sale. This is a motor only. I did make a very basic skid for this engine. Actually, I don't think it looks too bad. A little bit of paint or varnish, whatever you want. It'll really make it pop. Overall, really good shape. Very pleased with this engine. I seriously thought about keeping it. I've been watching eBay for the past couple weeks, and there have been just a handful. I don't know, I'm talking less than half a dozen of these for sale. This is the second 92 I've owned. My previous engine, I completely tore it down, honed the cylinder, sandblasted it, repainted it, new needle valve, new brass screws for the carburetor. That's actually another good point. These brass screws that hold on the carb are very delicate. It's really easy to strip them out. I did have this one off, and it did have the lead washers. For those of you that are not aware of the lead washers on these things, they're basically a one-time use, throw them away washer to do it right, and that means restoration. You should probably get new ones. They are available from several of the Maytag dealers around. I did not with this motor, but I haven't noticed significant leaks at all. You may there was a little drippage, little seepage right here on this top right screw, but compared to other ones I've seen, not a big deal. The needle valve is completely free. When I pulled it, it was clean. So that was a good sign. Normally you see a lot of gunk on the end of the needle valve or a bent needle valve. This one was not. Like I said, 1937 build, really good motor, really clean. This is a short base, 92. Second one I've owned, and overall, very, very happy with the engine. We're going to start it. As I do with all my motors, I put my hand on the cylinder. As you can see, I'm not pulling my hand away. A lot of folks, when they try and sell these things, will run them and then start a video, but if you notice, they won't put their hand on it. The heat certainly helps to make it fire quick. I've not run this motor in about 4 days. So you can see it's cold, extremely cold. So let's open up the needle valve, see if we can't get it to fire. Again, the other thing I like to do is rotate the flywheel, the engine by hand. And again, it's got really good compression. You can see I would call that rollback compression. Anytime you roll the flywheel forward and the cylinder comes up on the compression stroke and it kicks back, you got a good motor. No brakes on the fins on the flywheel either. A lot of times you'll see breaks or cracks like right down in here, you know, where the engine's fallen off something or something's gotten in the flywheel. You got to remember that's all cast metal, so it's, relatively speaking, it's pretty weak. But anyway, enough talking. Let's see if we can get it to run. So I'll rotate the flywheel again up against the compression stroke. There's a puff of smoke. Let's just crack the needle valve. One thing I forgot to mention, my fan belt is a little loose. As you can see, my fan rotates forward, and that's what happened. It's spun off the belt, but trust me, it's running it. It's not rubbing on anything, so I'm just going to let it go at the moment. And again, this is the first model engine Maytag put on the washing machines. And like I said, production stopped in 1937. So to come across a Maytag 92 #1 is getting difficult. It's not as easy as it was 15 years ago. And last year production, granted, it's not as good as first year production, but again, they don't come any newer than this. As you all can see, I just close off the fuel to shut the engine down. Originally, these engines had a plate, aluminum plate that came up here, mounted on the screws for the carb. That's called a caution plate. It had a hole in it with a rod and a loop. That rod would extend up through the caution plate to a tab mounted here. And that tab would come up this way. You'd pull the rod, and it would ground the spark plug against the engine and stop spark. I just turn off the fuel. Some other folks will just close off the air intake to the carb. Either way works. Finding the caution plate, the rod, and more importantly the tab on these things, especially in original condition, is pretty much impossible. They're out there, but again, you're going to pay for it. I'm not sure if it was an option for these motors, but you may find them every now and again with a cup mounted right here. It's about yay big around and a bunch of perforated holes in it. That's actually an air cleaner. As I said before, most of them just had a wire mesh right here to keep out the big stuff. But the air cleaner, if you can find it, again, you're going to pay for it. There is one on eBay when I just checked this morning, and it was going for 50 bucks. So, good clean motor. This engine is for sale. The ask price is $205. I do have some room on that, but the ask is $205. I think it's in very good shape. Again, previous restoration, good runner, extremely good compression. I will include the skid, but once again, I want to be very clear, the fan is not for sale. So thanks again. You can see the engine I restored previously also on my YouTube channel under Golf 41. That engine is long gone, but I enjoy them. They're a lot of fun. Thanks again for watching.